So now this can couple nicely. If we have a person with a shoulder and neck related combo of issues, right? There can be an argument to taping the shoulder in a more ideal posture and alignment, while also putting some brackets on either side of the spine. Again, the only component's going to be how high up on the neck can we actually get. And then I'm going to unclip, make sure this glasses stay protected. Good. I'm going to unclip, I'm going to flex you a little bit further forward as far as is comfortable.
Okay.
Is that okay there?
Yep.
Okay, good. So the one time when that face cradle really being mobile makes a lot of sense, right? Because then we really are able, and then you can get yourself lined up and try to be as symmetrical with this as possible. Now she was asking if this could like prevent any kind of distortion here. You'll never prove what you prevented, and it's like one of those where it's like send a prayer and a hope. But for all of us, long term, you know, like I used to try to think of like various taglines for things, just like how everybody wants to create a new acronym for a muscle energy technique or something. Like call it posture therapy, right? The more conscious we can be of how we're regularly holding our bodies and making little micro adjustments, then we're like naturally strengthening everything, you know, down to like the smaller postural muscles and everything in between, maybe getting connective tissue structures to anchor and cement down in those alignments. So if any of this can act as even the starting place for that, a person gets this tape and for a little while it feels like it's really making a difference. They start strengthening these structures and holding themselves there more effectively, and then they don't need it anymore. We should always be in a position where we could be open to the idea that a person is self-adjusting and holding and they don't need something permanently. And then we can just go back to, all right, the general maintenance full body massage works well, and if this starts to manifest again, we know to go back to it, kind of a deal. But the posture stuff, we already did a good job, everybody talking through, you know, the potential realities of that. And with that, I just reinforce, mostly because I have it on recording now, is if the goal is to help facilitate a person change their posture, hold their neck back so that they're not having as much of a forward flexion pattern of the upper thoracic area. Same thing with the shoulders, shoulders back, scapulas down. Verbally coach this. This is the place where we do have the scope to have the health messaging and help a person understand, at the very least, some more optimal places to orient their body. And with that too, while they're holding themselves there, think belly breathing. You know, all this together would ideally combine and have a really nice effect. So here, what I tend to try to do is really define a line of the spine. You can't miss C7, and people will get weird about C7. They think there's sometimes something wrong with them. Everybody has a big C7 where you can find that, all right? And then I have to figure out, get myself, I'm gonna take the whole backing off, get myself set. There's the middle of the spine. Find right where the hairline is. I don't wanna be getting here. And we'll have just enough to feel like we're putting tension over C7. So that's at least affecting the maybe cervical area. Right here, now we're gonna pull. And here's a case where even thinking connective tissue wise, it's not like I can't create the impression. When I do this though, I just wanna make sure I don't start gathering skin in a crease or anything. So it can be kind of pull it, hold it down, pull it, stick down and kind of hold. See how I can kind of keep doing that? When I release this, it's gonna get the impression that it's really pulling downward, so. And here we can go real close to the spine. Stretch further out. Here we go. Then other side. I mean, it ends up being rinse and repeat, right? There's not a whole lot of nuance here, aside from you maybe just having some tips and tricks as to like how to position the person on the table to do this as efficiently and cleanly as possible. Like what we found with the low back. Frankly, probably the easiest way to do the low back is to, and do it with clients that you already have a relationship with, but just have them, once they're done with the session, bend over the table, and you're gonna have way more, you're gonna have the tissue on length, and you're gonna have an easier ability to do that than even prone, to be honest. The only value you have with prone is that maybe it would be a little bit easier to move the underwear out of the way, but that's not necessarily a factor because you'd be able to do it just about as easily with the person post-session, bending over the table. Okay. And here just tactily, I'm trying to make it as symmetrical on her as possible. And not quite perfect. I'm going to do a little lift. That's the nice stuff. Nice thing with this dynamic tape is how incredibly elastic it is. I can come up. And although the anchor is going to have a little bit, I'm going to... Well, I didn't really change that much, did I? Oh well. The two pieces. I swear I cut those symmetrical. So there's that. Now you could even do one across. Let's say there was something, you know, more specific spine issue, like I have a little leftover piece. Why not?
Is that one you want to put underneath to start with?
Probably. We'll see what happens. We're gonna go ahead and see how much distance I can create on this one. See if I can get the anchors on either side. It's all about that. It's all about ideally just the anchors always being on the skin. So, let's see. No, probably won't make it, but we'll give it a shot anyway. It won't hurt anything that much. Go. It's gonna sit right on top, but oh well. So yeah, ideally that one underneath. I mean, the tape sticks down, it'll be fine. At least there's something here, but that ideally would have been just longer. When I had that one go across. So this dynamic tape is way more forgiving with how well it'll adhere. And so, but you could do anywhere. Let's say I wanted to do something more for breathing, and just I could go the whole thoracic spine, and then one across T1 C7, and one across T12 L1. And just because it seems right in my brain.
Those are easier to do posture ones as opposed to having to have them leave with their whole entire shoulder done, because I've practiced with
Yep.
that.
And as you indicated, if you do something like that, then you can indicate to them, all right, you feel that, and just feel how you're using, without using technical terms, but the erector spinae of the spine, hold your ribs up, use your belt. I mean, you indicate all of this, and if they just hear the information plus have a sensation as a reminder, I mean, there's a lot of value to, you know, being creative with that. And yes, all of this could be used for the same principle of a person, you know, standing more upright, and they may not need just the whole shoulder thing. The shoulder one is a bit more specific to region symptoms, old rotator cuff, some kind of like tendonitis, whatever. So there we go.